Scary real food found footage. Hey, my friends, look at this. This is a strange and scary phenomenon. Can you see those two circular stuffs there in the sky? Are those portals or what's going on there? Oh my god. This is very weird. Huh? My friends, what's going on here? Are these fireworks or the really weird stuff? Oh, this is crazy, my friends. This is insane. Unbelievable. Look at that stuff up there. Hey, looks like some oranges cut in half. What is that smoke that it is emitting? Is it even smoke or some chemicals that is being released here? Oh my god. This is weird stuff. Wow. And in other places, what looks like a cloud of birds or something like that was seen in the sky. How can you explain those mysterious stuff, my friends?
Now I want to give you a little picture of what witchcraft is like. This is something that God has given me what I think I could call a postgraduate course in. I didn't apply for it. I just got enrolled. Ruth and I got enrolled together. As a matter of fact, I'll tell you briefly how it happened. We were in a conference in the center of the United States in 1979, just about a year after we were married, less than a year. And it was a family conference. And the theme was essentially dealing with family relationships and so on. But in the middle, a young man stood up. I don't think I've ever met him. I don't know who he was, but he gave a tremendously powerful prophecy, which was fortunately recorded on tape, so that I've seen the written version. And in this prophecy, God said that all that he had been doing against witchcraft up to that time was merely preliminary skirmishes. But from that point onwards, 1979, he was declaring total war on witchcraft. And he said, the reason is this, because witchcraft has millions of men bound whom I need in my end-time army. And then he also told us something else, which we didn't really understand at the time. He said, if you will join me in this war, and we understood that he was calling us to join him, and we did. He said, you will encounter people who are under curses that have been passed down through families from generation to generation. But you do not need to be afraid. You will be able to release them. Well, at that time, that was just a statement to Ruth and me. But in the subsequent period of nearly 10 years, we have encountered thousands of people under curses passed down through families. And God has given us, by his grace, the ability to release them. This confirms to me that this prophecy was from God, because it contained a prediction which we didn't know anything about, which has been absolutely fulfilled. So that's how I've come to know something about witchcraft. As a matter of fact, I had got involved somewhat earlier in brief encounters with witchcraft. At a certain point, I think I could say I was a kind of pioneer in the ministry of deliverance. And I was a very controversial figure at that time. Some people loved me, and some people hated me, but very few people were indifferent. And a lot of the cases that I dealt with, the person who needed deliverance had a spirit of witchcraft. Well, I was a pretty orthodox Pentecostal at that time, and I'm still a Pentecostal, but maybe not quite so orthodox. And the people that needed deliverance were somebody like, the pastor's daughter, or the deacon's wife, or the church soloist. I mean, the last people who ought to have needed deliverance. And I really became concerned about this. I said, God, I do hope I'm not getting into something that's not right. So please, I said, would you tell me what is witchcraft? And I believe this is the answer he gave me. Witchcraft is the attempt to control people and make them do what you want by the use of any spirit which is not the Holy Spirit. And then he said, as a kind of corollary, if any person has a spirit which he or she uses, it is not the Holy Spirit. Because the Holy Spirit is God and no one uses God. I'll say that first part again. Witchcraft, in its essence, is the attempt to control people and make them do what you want by the use of any spirit which is not the Holy Spirit. And when my eyes were opened to that, I saw why the church was full of witchcraft. Because there are a lot of people who feel they want people to do something and they use any means they can do to get them to do it. Most of them don't realize what they're doing. Now I want to take three aspects of witchcraft. First of all, as a work of the flesh, which many people don't realize. Second, as an evil spiritual power. And thirdly, the working of witchcraft within the church. But let's take it first of all as a work of the flesh. Turn to the list of the works of the flesh in Galatians chapter 5, verses 19 and 20. Now, I want to say that in various translations, different words are used. Some translations say witchcraft, some say sorcery, and so on. In just a little while, I'll give you a delineation of the three main branches of witchcraft. That's witchcraft, divination, and sorcery. But you find here in this passage, some translations say witchcraft, some say sorcery. Let me say they're really just different names for the same power. So Paul says in verse 19 of Galatians 5, now the works of the flesh are evident, which are adultery, fornication, uncleanness, licentiousness, idolatry, sorcery. But the old King James says witchcraft. So there, right in the middle of the list of the works of the flesh, are idolatry and witchcraft. That is, they're the expression of man's carnal, fallen nature. And I say that's the way the flesh, the fallen nature is. We, in our fallen nature, desire to control people. We desire to get people to do what we want. And very often we use illegitimate means to get that. Now, this kind of operation, I say, has three key words. And I want you to listen carefully, because wherever you encounter these operations, you are encountering witchcraft. And it may be you've never realized it up till now. The three key words are manipulate, intimidate, and dominate. Now, the end purpose is dominate, control people, make them do what you want. There are two alternative routes. One is manipulate, the other is dominate. And it depends on the situation and the purpose which route a person will follow. But whether they use manipulation or whether they use domination, the end purpose is, whether they use intimidation, the end purpose is control. It's domination. Now, in the natural, we're not talking about anything supernatural yet. In the natural, witchcraft, as a work of the flesh, operates really in every area of society. Some of you are going to come out of here and you're going to see things in a very different light. I hope the first thing you'll do is look in the mirror. Before you point out your husband or your wife or your grandmother or your mother-in-law, whoever it may be, just check on yourself. Okay? Let me give you a few examples. For instance, in the family life. Now, whether people like it or not, God has ordained a certain order in the family. The husband is the head of the wife. People can stand the family up on its head, but God hasn't changed the order. And beneath the authority of husband and wife, there is children who are, in God's order, subject to the authority of their parents. Now, what witchcraft will do is use either manipulation or intimidation to set aside the divine authorized order. Let's take children first. Children are master manipulators. You don't have to be old. A child of 5 can be a master manipulator. All right, suppose mother has guests to tea or coffee, depending on the social situation. And there are biscuits or cookies, depending on your vocabulary. And the little child of 5 knows that mama doesn't want her to have cookies, biscuits. But she knows that when guests are there, it's going to be very difficult for mother to say no. So when the guests are there, she comes in and says, "Mama, may I have a cookie?" And you know, what is the mother going to do? Well, she probably gives way. She's been manipulated. Years and years ago, my first wife and I lived next to a Pentecostal family, father, mother, and I think the daughter was about 3 years old. Now, in those days, people used to go grocery shopping on Saturday nights. So when they dressed up to go out grocery shopping on Saturday night, the little girl was a little angel. She toddled along happily. When they wanted to go to the Sunday school on Sunday morning, that little creature would lie on its back and scream with her legs in the air to prevent the parents getting to the place where they needed to be. Now, that little girl didn't reason, but there was a force in her that had no objection to the parents going to the grocery store, but strongly rejected the parents going to the place where they could hear the Word of God. So you begin to work that out. A fellow preacher of mine said, a little baby of 6 weeks is in its cot and it's wet. It needs to have its diaper or its nappy changed. So it cries. Along comes mother, picks up the little baby, changes it, and then cuddles it, which of course the baby loves. Well, next time the baby wants to be cuddled, it cries even when its nappy isn't wet. You see? What's that? It's manipulation. You see, this is something natural to fallen man. Well, it's not only children. It can be mothers and fathers. Now, the normal way for a woman to operate is manipulation. The possible way for a father to operate is intimidation. See? But each of them has the same aim, control the other. So the wife doesn't get her way. She throws a tearful fit, burns the food, and makes her husband's life miserable. So in the end, what does he do? He gives way. Or it's the husband. Now, there's many different ways this can happen, but the husband may be a brute. He may be a strong man with a bad temper, and if he doesn't get his way, he shouts and becomes violent and threatens. And the whole family tiptoes around. The one thing they want to avoid is another fit of temper by daddy. What's he doing? He's intimidating them. What's his aim? To get his way. You see, it can well be that a husband and wife have differences. The divine order is that they talk it out face to face, prayerfully, and seek God. But manipulation never faces the real issue. It always goes round behind. The real issues are never brought out into the light. And there are, who knows how many millions of married couples, even in this land, that never really bring their differences out into the open. But each tries to go round behind the other to get what he or she wants. That's manipulation. You take the church. There's many, many examples of manipulation in the church. We'll take a Pentecostal congregation, and I don't think there's much I don't know about Pentecostals. I mean, I've been an Anglican and I'm a Pentecostal, and I think basically I know how they operate. I may be a bit out of date with Anglicans, but I mean, there are all sorts of other people I don't know much about. But anyhow, let's take a little Pentecostal congregation. There's a young pastor. It's his first pastorate. There's only about 100 people in the congregation. And He's a little bit nervous and timid. And there's two very spiritual sisters. I mean, not just spiritual, but super spiritual. And they know how the church ought to be run. They don't sit down prayerfully and talk it over with the pastor, but one of them gets a tongue, and then the other comes with the interpretation. And between them, they tell the pastor what to do. You think that doesn't happen? I can tell you it certainly does. What is that? Manipulation. That's right. Many other areas, business. People manipulate one another. The boss may manipulate his secretary, or the secretary may manipulate her boss. I can't take a lot of time this evening, but you can see what I'm talking about is something that's natural to fallen man. This is witchcraft as a work of the flesh, and its three trademarks are manipulate, intimidate, and dominate. And I would like to say, wherever you encounter those things, behind them is the power of witchcraft.
Good vibes all the way, man. What's going on here? It's like this good vibes guy is harvesting something. Oh, wait. He's not harvesting something, he's catching something. Is this an animal, some plants, or what's that?
People are freaking out after 9 pillars of light were seen in the sky above a coastal town in Japan recently. And it wasn't just one picture. These 9 lights were seen from multiple different angles. So, what the hell is that? Well, the man who originally posted the photo said that it's actually a rare natural phenomenon called fishing firelight pillars. And he said that it's caused by powerful lights placed on fishing boats to attract larger catches. As temperatures cool overnight, crystals sometimes form in the air, and then the boat's lights reflect off of the crystals, creating this. It's never just as simple as aliens, is it?
My friends, what do you think that might cause that? This good vibes dog here has had enough of the babies. They have played too much, and the father is a bit tired today, you see. So maybe he's misunderstanding the puppy's actions of love and affection, you see. These animals are good vibes, man, you see. No, if only we could understand the dog's language. Maybe this good vibes dog is now giving their puppies a warning. Telling them, oh, wait, my children, I'm tired. We have played a lot today, and I think it's now time to let me have some rest, you see? Hey, my children, please. Just give me some time to relax, you see? Did some hard work bringing you in this world. No. Good vibes earthlings watching. Children out there, please kindly respect your parents and show them love always, you see? And God will never cease to bless you. And the children and parents out there, kindly teach your children love, peace, forgiveness, and honesty. See? Just so we can create a world full of good vibes and love.
Picture. This is the picture the Lord had me draw. Okay? You see that? Children of covenant. That's what he had me draw. And this was the couple that I saw in bondage. This is what these counterfeit relationships look like to the Lord. They look like this. I don't know if y'all can see it. Hold on. They look like this. This is what the promise is. Okay? This is what the Lord sees when he sees your union, when he sees reconciliation in these kingdom marriages. This is what he sees. But these counterfeit relationships, this is exactly what they look like. Even though you guys look at it and you guys try to make it look like this, but to the Lord, he's saying it looks like this. They are both in bondage together. And the Lord is getting ready to break the chains on one of them, and they about to be free and come into a covenant. But you're trying to treat whatever this was like it was something God wanted. You need to look at it the same way God looks at it. It is something they did when they were operating in their flesh. It is not what the Lord wanted. And it's not what they wanted, even though they didn't even realize it at the time. They didn't even realize it at the time because they were operating in their flesh and they had not been renewed. They had not had a revelation of Jesus Christ. They had not had a revelation of the sin they were committing. They did not know the way they were living was wrong, or maybe they did. They were just too in their pride to come back home, to come back to make things right. This is what it looks like to God. But this is you. This is the promise. And any child that you have in that marriage, this is the children of covenant.
My friends, always
How to
spread love.
calculate your life path number correctly, and I'll use Michael Jackson as an example. His birthday is August 29, 1958. The correct calculation method is 2 plus 9 is 11, plus 8 plus 1 plus 9 plus 5 plus 8, which adds up to 42. So Michael Jackson is a life path 42, which is a simplified 6. But one of the biggest mistakes I see a lot of people doing is only using their simplified number, which is 1 digit. 90% of the population have 2-digit life path numbers. The only people that can have 1-digit life path numbers, meaning having the pure energy, are those born after the year 2000. Which means Michael Jackson is a life path 42, which is a certain type of 6. Other types of 6s would be the 33, the 24, and the 15, or the pure 6.
Quick reflection in the morning. So the way you treat others says a lot about yourself. The way others treat you tells a lot about themselves. And the way you let people treat you tells how you treat yourself.
So when to take ginger and when not to take ginger, that's what we're going to talk about today. Ginger can be a powerful remedy for so many things. It's been around for thousands of years. It's been used on ships to prevent scurvy. Confucius, the Chinese philosopher, not just consumed it every day, but he consumed it every single meal. In the 14th century, a pound of ginger cost the same as buying an entire sheep, so it was very expensive. Ginger was one of the first spices to be exported from Southwest India. And ginger has very high antioxidant levels, only to be surpassed by pomegranate juice. Now, the benefits I'm going to tell you are based on a paper that looked at 190 articles on ginger. From that, 43 met high-quality evidence. Ginger has many, many effects: antimicrobial, anti-inflammatory, anti-diabetic. There's anti-cancer properties, especially colorectal. It's also great for menstrual pain, arthritis, increasing HDL, as well as improving heartburn. But ginger's biggest effect that it's known for is its ability to get rid of feeling nauseous. So it creates an anti-nausea effect when you're pregnant, going through chemo, when you feel nauseous, when you're having a menstrual cycle, as well as after a surgery. I remember when I had my shoulder surgery, I came out of it and I felt very, very nauseous. So anytime you feel nauseous, think ginger. In fact, they compared vitamin B6 to ginger, and ginger was more effective than vitamin B6. There's some contraindications that you need to know about. In other words, if you're taking ginger and you have the following things I'm going to talk about, you need to stop taking it. If you're on warfarin or you're on some type of blood thinner or aspirin, because ginger helps you thin the blood. And if you're on a blood thinner and you're taking ginger, you're going to thin the blood even more. And also, if you have a bleeding disorder, I wouldn't take ginger. Now, ginger also inhibits insulin. So if you're taking insulin, you have to be careful because it's going to bring your blood sugars down. And of course, the next question is, if we compare medication to ginger, there's probably less side effects from ginger. And so why wouldn't you just want to take that? You can talk with your doctor about that. But I mean, it just fascinates me that when I was in practice, some people would take natural remedies, right, while they're taking certain medications. And the doctor get very, very upset because the natural remedies were interfering with the medications. Now, a couple of things about ginger. Ginger tends to lower your blood pressure. So if you're taking blood pressure medication, whether it's a beta blocker or a calcium channel blocker or a diuretic, apparently ginger can make your blood pressure go lower. So you might want to consult your doctor on that one point. And lastly, ginger stimulates the gallbladder. You might not want to take ginger if you have gallstones, especially if they're big. Now, since we're on the topic of natural remedies, if you have not seen my apple cider vinegar and lemon video, I put it up right here. Check it out. I think you'll enjoy it.
The video you're about to watch might scare you. It might be a little bit too much for you, and I understand. But it is important that you watch it and accept it for what it is. The truth is out there.
Non-human intelligence exists. Non-human intelligence has been interacting with humanity. This interaction is not new, and it's been ongoing. And there are unelected people in the government that are aware of that.
And so, Carl, that is quite a bold statement. I'm wondering, and I'm curious, how confident are you that that is true?
There's zero doubt.
And Carl, what evidence have you seen? What was the moment where you developed this level of conviction? Because what you're saying is extremely consequential and very important. And I know that a lot of people here, even perhaps, may not believe that statement.
Right. Well, probably a better way to ask that is, how can the folks in the audience come to the, a common understanding of what this phenomenon is? And so there's sort of two tracks here. One is from first principles, and another is actually from the data. So let's take a look at the data. So we can look at some folks that have very high level access to information, like Paul Hellyer, who is the defense chief for Canada, has come out and said the same thing. We can look at Ham Eshed, the head of Israel's, or former head of Israel's Space Force, has said the same thing. Chris Mellon, Deputy Assistant Secretary for Intel, SAPCO, has essentially said the same thing. Lou Elizondo has said the same thing. David Grush has said the same thing. David Grush cleared for presidentially level material. So you're looking at people that are in a position to know this, and they're telling you the same thing. You could take a look at the Gang of Eight in the Senate and in Congress. So there's two members of the Gang of Eight, Marco Rubio and Senator Chuck Schumer, that signed up to the UAP disclosure amendment last year that basically said they're not being told the truth, and we need to push forward on that.
Oh, my friends, honesty is a very important virtue, you see? And then there's these photos of guys from the past, standing on what looks like giant tree trunks. Oh, my friends, look at this tree here. Oh, my God, this is unimaginable. You mean there used to be a time when trees used to be this big? Where did they go, or what happened, my friends? Leave your comments. Oh, this is crazy. You mean this one is a tree trunk, and it looks like someone's grandparents are standing on it over 4 people? It's just crazy, my friends. Oh, look at the trees back then. A tree that could even fit a whole bungalow on top of it is crazy stuff, my friends. Crazy stuff. Look at this. Oh my God. Why would these good vibes humans from the past cut down those trees? Makes you wonder, my friend. Look at the power saw.
Look at how absolutely insane this is. Something is changing. This diagonal rainbow blue sunbeam. And watch, as the sun goes behind the clouds, you can see how small it is, right? But when it comes back out the other side, you can, even above the clouds, but you can see like the aura, the colors of the sun. There's a lot of red and blue. Now you can see it just starting to peek out, and then the sun appears. There are things changing right now. And it just blows my mind every day when I film it, when I take photos. Like, look at this. Look at that. It's crazy. There's sun dogs every day. If you go back to the beginning of the video, there's a lens flare on my neck, which I didn't notice until I started editing this. But like, I cannot believe every day I look outside and it is just wild and vibrant and bright and hot. What do you guys think?
If you're using a black plastic spatula for your cooking, you are secretly poisoning yourself, and here's how. The plastic in all black utensils comes from a carbon black, which has polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons, or PAHs, which are extremely toxic. These harmful compounds can leach into your food, especially when exposed to high temperatures during cooking. This study shows that PAH have been linked to various health issues, including respiratory problems, organ damage, increased risk of cancer. So get rid of all the black utensils and swap them out for non-toxic options like wooden or stainless steel spatulas, and consider detoxing your body from all the carbon black in your system. Comment detox below and I will send you a list of things you can do to detox your body and get your energy back to normal.
Here we make our own cooking sticks from trees, you see? But the people from the past used to make their own beadings from I don't know what inspiration. You see the type of beadings they made? Crazy, my friends. Then there's this wonderful animal there in the world. What do you call this ones, good people of Earth? Oh, it has this two protruding teeth. And it's crazy, man. I've never come across this one. Oh, it looks like it resembles a deer in at some point. Only that now it does not have the horns. Looks like the horns were removed and put in the mouth. I don't know. But this one is definitely a good vibes animal. If it's just willing to sit there and be cuddled by some humans, it's good vibes, my friend. You see? And it is just lovely. Oh, consider it is feeling nice. This good vibes guy must have really made the day of this animal. You see? It will feel nice for the rest of the day. This is great. It's good vibes. Wonderful sauce. If you are out there and you see people around you, animals, anything, just treat them with love, caring, compassion, and good vibes. You see, God will bless you. There is a very strange flying object that was seen in England recently, and it's crazy because now, as you can see, my friends, this thing is flying above the sky. Wow! Look at this. My friend. If these ones are not drones or things controlled by humans, it's mind-blowing. Because where could they have come from? See, I'm surprised. If these things are UFOs, then it is creepy. Really strange and scary. And from the previous episodes and videos you have been seeing here, it's like these things no longer feel like hiding if they exist, you see? And they are just there showing themselves to humans on Earth, on the sky there. This crazy stuff, wonderful souls, you see? We really need to unite, my friends. Be loving, spreading love, kindness, and stuff like this we will always understand. Because now, wonderful souls, look at this thing. You mean it thinks, or the creatures inside there thinks the people on Earth are not able to see it, or what's happening? Or they're just doing this to be seen? Oh, it's crazy. Or these are planes. Do you think these are aeroplanes, good people of Earth? It's weird stuff, those ones. My friend, very weird stuff. And thank you very much for watching up to this far. You see, with the kind of things that we come across here, we really need one another to understand them, you see? So I always encourage everybody to leave comments there. Hit the like button and hit the notification bell also, so that you may also always be updated when we upload a good vibes video, you see? Thanks for your support. Thanks for watching. Be blessed. Lots of love to yourself. If you are new here, I am Widely11H, and it has been a pleasure being with you up to this far. Till next time, man, peace and love be with you. Goodbye. Lots of good vibes.